There was once a man who extremely hated girls. He is Sam Wellman, an attractive guy. He doesn't like girls because they are talkative and moody. When they gossip, he doesn't understand a word. He calls them Alvin chipmunks, gathered to talk behind people's back. Sam's concept about women highly influenced his status. He never had a serious relationship. He works as an executive at Mr. Cavallo's company. Their agency provides models to famous lingerie brands in New York. One of their clients is Lulu, who owns a clothing brand. She trusts the company to help her promote lingerie online. She was impressed with the recommended models and planned to extend her contract with the firm. Lulu is secretly in a relationship with Sam's boss, Mr. Cavallo. Like Sam, Mr. Cavallo is also a womanizer. Only Sam knows his deep secrets. In their spare time, they talk about women. Mr. Cavallo admires Sam not because of his performance, but because he's reminded of himself when he looks at him. For him, they are both attractive, appealing, and brainy. Sam likes him too, and he's the only one at the office who knows about his boss's relationship with Lulu. Sam's best friend is a gynecologist, Andrew. They have a circle of friends they are with when clubbing and chasing women. Most of them have partners. Some are faithful, and few are like Sam. One of their friends, Steve, is soon to marry Georgette. Sam teased him that once he ties a knot, he can no longer enjoy life. Apart from Steve, Sam is also a bad influence on Andrew. His fiancée, Cynthia, hated him so much because of that. Before Steve's wedding, they throw a bachelorette party. Steve invited the girls to the hotel. Andrew is loyal and wants to avoid temptations as much as possible. Sam stayed with him on the couch, drinking. They enjoyed watching the boys getting wild. Sam walked home, drunk. He passed by a shop in the village. He got curious and went inside. He looked around the shelves and saw antiques and other old crap. He was tipsy and almost rested himself on those items. The store owner rattled. He called him out to never touch anything. The old man offered tea to help him sober. Sam drank it without hesitation. The man got curious about where he was headed to. Sam replied that he was going home after attending a bachelor party. The old man learned he was from Murray Hill. He shared a story of a woman who is also from that village. He expressed his admiration for a brave woman whom he respected so much. She saved America by using her beauty to outsmart colonizers. He wished that Sam would also find a courageous woman like her. Sam laughed, and he found him corny. In his mind, it would be impossible to meet a lady with similar characteristics. Those type of women doesn't exist anymore. He boasted that he doesn't date boring girls. He was proud to sleep with different women every night. The old man feels insulted. He finds Sam rude and ungrateful. His concept of women is alarming, reflecting that he never respects them. The next day, Sam woke up with a tired body. He was too drunk last night, and he barely recalls how he arrived home. He went to the comfort room to pee. He freaked out after discovering his manhood was gone. All body parts of a female are on him. He was transformed into a woman. He screamed out of shock and panicked. He didn't know what to do. He only remembered being drunk last night. Sam thought he was only hallucinating, so he decided to sleep again, hoping to wake up as a man. It was 8 a.m. when he woke up. He was still in a woman's body. He slapped himself, thinking everything was a dream. He wore his pants to go somewhere. It was loose, and he had difficulties wearing it. Sam went to his best friend, Doc Andrew, who works as a gynecologist. He knew he could help his situation. Andrew's secretary saw a lady panicking, wearing loose pants and a sweater. She was demanding to see a doc right away. The lady sounded entitled and rude, so she never let her in. She said that Andrew was busy with a client. She highly suggests booking an appointment to see the doc. Sam was hysterical. The secretary sounded annoying, so he never listened to her. He went inside the room and saw Andrew. The doctor was shocked because he didn't know her. He wondered why she interrupted his work. The patient was also mad at Sam for coming in without knocking on the door. Sam talked to her rudely. Andrew calmed him down and instructed his nurse to take the patient to another room. He closed the door and spoke to her. She introduced herself as Sam, his best friend. Andrew couldn't stop laughing at her. He thought she was crazy. She is undoubtedly the lady Sam slept with last night. He looked for Sam and asked if he was okay. Sam was annoyed that Andrew was laughing at him when he was serious. He dared Andrew to ask anything to verify he was Sam. Andrew never replied. Because of that, he told him that his fiancée was Cynthia. He also revealed his dark secrets that only he knows. Andrew was embarrassed. He never knew that Sam would tell a lady his information and secret. They swore a promise to keep those only for themselves. Sam was irritated that Andrew never believed him. He grabbed a scissor and cut his hair. Andrew rattled because she was holding a sharp object. The lady requested him to compare his blood samples from the fraternity to the hair strands. Andrew nodded yes to calm down the lady. He was still unconvinced of what she was saying. He promised to conduct DNA for her to vanish in the clinic. Sam feels at ease. He is confident that the samples will match. Sam went to the office to work. He was assigned to create an online advertisement proposal for Lulu's lingerie brand. The security, Lou, blocked him. He was confused why a strange lady would go inside the building. Sam remembered that he was in a woman's body. He introduced himself as Samantha, Sam Wellman's cousin. Lou wondered how the lady knew his name. She reasoned out that Sam mentioned him the last time they talked. She wants to get inside to speak to him. Lou finds the lady sweet and respectful, so he lets her in. Sam went home, hopeless. He had a breakdown after no one recognized him at the office. He drank all the liquor in his refrigerator. Someone called his phone. It was Andrew. He was extremely upset with the lady. He pleaded with her never to play games because he was serious. He asked where she hid Sam. The lady was annoyed. She nagged at him on the phone, insisting she was Sam. Andrew was pissed off and ended the call. He thought of someone serious to talk to. He contacted Melissa, Mr. Cavallo's assistant. She said that Sam was not at the office earlier. She had never heard from him since the weekend. Melissa promised to inform Andrew once she saw Sam at work. Andrew was bothered because he was the last person he talked to before he left home. Cynthia told him that Sam was mature enough to take care of himself. Andrew's phone rings. It was the lady again using Sam's phone. She keeps insisting on being Sam in a female body. Andrew got tired of hearing her lies, so he dropped the call. Shortly after, he remembered the hair she cut at the clinic. Andrew contacted a geneticist to test the DNA samples he got. He also requested the laboratory to rush the process because it is important. He wants to know if the girl was telling the truth, and if she and Sam are only one. Meanwhile, at the office, Mr. Cavallo was bothered by Sam's absences. He entrusted him to be in charge of Lulu's account. The proposal presentation is fast approaching, but Sam never started the project. Melissa contacted Sam by both email and phone. He was not picking up her calls since yesterday. She shared with Mr. Cavallo that Andrew was also looking for Sam. He never reached him after they attended a bachelor's party. Melissa assumed that something terrible had happened to him. Days passed by, and Andrew had no information about Sam disappearing. His relationship with his fiancée, Cynthia, was already affected. He had no time for her and only focused on finding Sam. Meanwhile, Sam is already sober. He received Melissa's email, so he thought of a reply. He apologized to his boss and said he went out of town after a family emergency. He recommended his cousin, Samantha, who will cover up in the meantime. He said that the lady could also produce fresh ideas like him. Sam almost spilled that he would be back at work once his body returned. He deleted the sentence because they may think he's crazy. Melissa received the mail. Mr. Cavallo was relieved. He trusts Sam so much, so he believes his excuses. He jokingly replied that he would only welcome her if she were hot. Samantha went to the boutique. She had no idea what business attire to buy, so she grabbed the suits and skirts in a single rack. She must look presentable for everyone to trust her with the job. The next day, Sam went to the office. He greeted his assistant, Margaret, like usual. Margaret was wondering who she was. She was talking to her casually when they had never met before. She was surprised that the lady knew she was Margaret. Sam saw how his assistant freaked out. It was only then that he remembered he was in a female body. He introduced himself as Samantha, Sam's cousin. She told Margaret that Sam kept mentioning her, which is why she knew her name. Margaret had butterflies. She was secretly in love with Sam, and she was flattered that he was mentioning her to his relatives. Samantha continued talking. She is willing to work for her cousin. She will do her best to help the company. On the way to Mr. Cavallo, Samantha met his assistant Melissa. She assured her that Sam was okay and she had nothing to worry about. She requested Melissa to get Lulu's file so she could start working. While waiting, Samantha sat in the chair like a man. She also had mannerisms similar to Sam's. It is not noticeable, though, since she's a woman version of him. Samantha went to Mr. Cavallo's office. The man couldn't stop smiling seeing her. He assumed that she was Sam's cousin. She was indeed beautiful, and he was dying to know her. Samantha introduced herself. She tries her best to sound professional in front of the boss. She wants to discuss Lulu's account. She's confident in doing the job because Sam thoroughly briefed her about the project. Mr. Cavallo could not say a word. He was mesmerized by her sweet face. He suggested setting aside talking about business and focusing more on getting to know each other. The old man flirted with Samantha by saying he loved staring into her eyes, because it's the window to the soul. Samantha was laughing deep inside. She knew what Mr. Cavallo noticed first about women. She continued talking about the project, but he kept touching her shoulders. He invited her to go out with him. The lady refused. She reasoned out that she was taken and they would have dinner later to celebrate the anniversary. Mr. Cavallo insisted. He said she could bring her boyfriend but tell the guy to return home early, so the two of them could bond as friends. Samantha was irritated. She excused herself from working on her desk. Samantha was washing her face in the sink when Melissa entered. She was wondering how Mr. Cavallo treated her. She apologized that her boss went too far and flirted with her. The lady warned Samantha to stay away from him as much as possible. Samantha replied that she was fine and thanked her for the concern. Out of nowhere, Melissa asked about Sam. She wants to confirm if he keeps mentioning her to his family. Samantha nodded yes, and Melissa couldn't stop smiling. She was in a good mood after hearing that. Meanwhile, Andrew brought flowers and wine to reconcile with Cynthia. He apologized for not giving his full attention after Sam disappeared. Cynthia was happy and forgave him. They were about to spend time with each other when another call interrupted them. The medical geneticist compared Sam's blood to Samantha's hair. It was positive. He said that in his long experience of processing DNA samples, it was his first time to see such a high percentage result. Andrew froze. He didn't know how to react. Cynthia was upset with him again. She couldn't stand how her husband was acting weird lately. Samantha drank another evening to forget her problems. Suddenly, Andrew broke into her house. He called her out for not cleaning the apartment, seeing empty liquor bottles on the floor. Andrew watches her explain the mess, and he is amused by the lady's resemblance to Sam's mannerisms. She also keeps calling him dude, like Sam used to. Samantha was glad that he had visited. She speculated that the result came out, and he believed her. Andrew never responded. He sat down beside her and asked how it all happened. Sam recalls that after the bachelor party, he stopped by a shop where he met an old man. He offered him tea to sober. He never hesitated to drink it and returned home to sleep. He woke up the next day in a girl's body. It was the same day that he visited his clinic for help. The only problem is Sam could barely remember the location of the shop. Andrew accompanied Samantha in walking along the street from the hotel to her unit. He wanted her to focus on what particular street the shop was located in. They asked the locals about it. They only laughed at them because no ordinary man could afford to rent the place. After the tiring walk, Andrew got mad at Samantha. He still had to deal with clients in his clinic, so he decided to go. Samantha pleaded with him to stay. Since the man was not free that day, she requested him to see her at the park after his shift. The next day, they met again to continue searching the shop. Andrew brought the lady Sam's favorite sandwich, and Samantha liked it. He was amused that she finished the food instantly like Sam. They never found the store, and Samantha looks hopeless. She doesn't know how to return to her body. She looked at Andrew and requested to check her body at his clinic. Maybe she was suffering from a disease, and only Doc could help her. Andrew laughed and looked at her with disgust. She is still Sam, after all. He would never examine her, no matter what happens. Lulu visited Mr. Cavallo's office to check on the progress of the project. She meets an unfamiliar lady. The way she greeted her was casual, so she wondered who she was. Mr. Cavallo informed her that Sam's cousin would represent him while he took a leave. Lulu noticed that the lady had no taste in fashion. She won't allow her to face clients with her loose outfit. Mr. Cavallo assured her to take care of the problem. He will make sure to give her a makeover before the presentation. Samantha went under the table to reach her chair. There was a decent passage to her desk, but she chose a shortcut. Margaret went under the table with her. She believes that the earrings she saw are hers. Samantha thanked her. She apologized for misplacing her things around the office. It was okay for Margaret. She expressed her admiration for her performance at work, and she knows she can stand out like her cousin. Margaret offered help in case she needed her. They are startled when Mr. Cavallo sees them, and he wants to talk to Samantha. Mr. Cavallo was impressed with her performance, but he had a problem with her. She needs to improve her look and fix her unladylike mannerisms. He recommends his consultant help her transform. Samantha was okay with his suggestion, and she is willing to do it to represent the company well. Mr. Cavallo finds her adorable for not complaining. He went nearer and held her hand. The lady noticed that her boss was flirting again. She jumped to the other side of the table to escape him. She shouted at him and called out his behavior. Everyone looked at Mr. Cavallo, and he was embarrassed. In his mind, Samantha seems to be a man hidden in a female body. Sam's colleagues find her brave for doing that. Samantha went to the bar, irritated by her boss. An old man was amazed at how she drank liquor. She finished it in a single gulp, and she was his type. He is willing to buy her a drink if she wants to. But before he could start flirting, Samantha walked away. The lady returned to her apartment, but she noticed an unusual pain in her body. Her lower abdomen hurts a lot, and she could not control her temper. For the past few days, she has gotten irritated even with small things. The next day, Samantha woke up bleeding. She freaked out and thought she would pass away soon. She rushed to Andrew's apartment to seek help. Doc said that she was having period, and it was normal. Cynthia went out of the room to check the lady who screamed. It was early in the morning, and she had ruined her sleep. She wonders why Andrew keeps calling her Sam when she's a woman. Cynthia felt jealous after learning that she was Sam's cousin. She speculated that Andrew was cheating on her. Cynthia demanded her fiancé to send the woman outside the unit. Instead of apologizing, Samantha was mad at Cynthia. She finds her immature and overreacting. She pulled her hair, and they fell to the sofa. Andrew rattled. He removed Samantha from Cynthia. He pushed her outside the door and gave her tampons. Samantha was teary because she didn't know how to use it. The next day, Samantha went to Mr. Blondell for the makeover appointment. She was careless like Sam that all the shoes displayed on the shelf fell. She caught Mr. Blondell's attention after what she did. He assumed that she was Samantha. The lady tried to escape the mess she had made, but Mr. Blondell stopped her. He stared at the lady from head to foot. He figured out that her problem was not only clothes and makeup. Samantha needs to learn how to be feminine. He booked her another appointment at his studio. The following day, Samantha went to Mr. Blondell's studio to undergo training. The man will teach her how to be a lady in 2 weeks. Mr. Blondell had difficulties forcing her to wear a suit and stocking. The lady went to the fitting room whining. After a while, Samantha went out, and she stood in front of a mirror. Mr. Blondell finds her attractive. All she needs to work hard on is her posture. He also taught her how to walk, sit, and move like a lady. 2 weeks passed by, and Andrew freaked out seeing Samantha at his clinic. She was fully transformed, and her fashion sense suited her makeup. She was so elegant in her coat, and she moved in a feminine way. Samantha will be his next client, and he refuses to examine her body. He banged the door to avoid her. However, the lady was desperate to return to her old self. She pleaded with Andrew's help. The doctor finds her annoying. He was still mad at her for breaking into his apartment. Cynthia almost broke up with him, thinking he was cheating. Samantha was teary. She doesn't know how to solve her problem. Andrew was the only one who knew about her condition. Samantha doesn't want to force him if he doesn't want to. She sobbed, thinking she would be a woman forever. She had a breakdown and sat on the chair, hopeless. Andrew pitied her. He opened his book to find the closest solution to her problem. He suggested she can undergo gender change. Samantha looked at the images of the process, and it looked painful. She hugged Andrew, crying. The doctor was not comfortable with their closeness. He moved away from her and invited her for a meal so she won't feel bad. At the restaurant, they talked about girls. Samantha said that when she was Sam, she never understood when girls gossiped. They have tiny voices like chipmunks, and it irritates her the most. And now, she couldn't believe it sounded like Alvin. She also boasted that she knew what the girls behind them were talking about. Andrew laughed at her and challenged the lady to write her interpretation of their topic. The doctor stood up and approached the woman at the other table. He wants to confirm if Samantha was right, and she was. Andrew was impressed with her ability. While they were eating, he kept observing her. He could not believe that his best friend was now a lady. However, she doesn't eat like Sam anymore. She now has the table manners of a woman after attending training. Samantha looked at Andrew. She wondered why his eyes were lonely. She asked if he and Cynthia were fine. The doctor never responded, so she never asked further. They may not be on good terms, and Andrew doesn't want to share it. Samantha changed the topic. She has not accepted her gender even after a month of living as a woman. She sometimes feels bad about it, and she thanked Andrew for being patient. Andrew cheered her up. He complimented her beauty and femininity. She was also wrong, thinking she talked like Alvin, the chipmunk. Samantha was flattered. She asked what her voice sounded like. Andrew replied that it was like Theodore's. Samantha laughed so hard. Andrew, on the other hand, was smiling, seeing her happy. After their lunch, Samantha asked Andrew why girls are complicated. She wants to know the scientific explanation behind it. The doctor smiled and answered her question based on the books he had read. Suddenly, Samantha's phone rang and it was Margaret. She informed her that the meeting with Lulu would be pushed to later. In the office, Margaret's jaw dropped seeing Samantha for the first time after 2 weeks. She confidently walks into the hallway and makes eye contact with people she meets. Margaret expressed her admiration for her transformation. She also gave the folder for the proposal presentation. Margaret said that she added her ideas to improve it. Samantha went inside the conference room. Everyone was mesmerized by her beauty. Lulu finds her attractive. Mr. Cavallo, on the other hand, was staring at her body features. She looks hot in his eyes. Similarly, Lulu's French venture partner was dying to get to know her. Samantha presented her proposal for the online campaign of Ms. Lulu's lingerie brand. She also acknowledged Margaret's help and informed everyone that the proposal was mostly her idea. Everyone adored Samantha's confidence during the presentation. Mr. Cavallo's eyes were all fixed on her, making Lulu jealous. She threatened to end the contract and their relationship if he continued staring at the lady. After the presentation, Lulu congratulated Samantha. She further asked for the details of the proposal for the contract signing. Mr. Cavallo also congratulated the lady. He shook her hands and was low-key flirting. Samantha moved away and demanded a bonus after the successful proposal. She also requested him to promote Margaret. Back then, Sam took advantage of her to steal her ideas. He has done that for almost 3 years without Mr. Cavallo knowing. Now that she has become a lady, she empathizes with her more, and she wants to make everything right. Samantha was on her way to her office when Margaret approached her. She was grateful for the acknowledgement during the presentation. Samantha smiled and informed the lady that Mr. Cavallo would soon give her the promotion she deserved. Margaret was delighted to hear it from her. She never knew that a pretty and kind-hearted woman still existed. Margaret became comfortable with Samantha. She asks her a favor whenever she meets Sam. She wants him to know she has feelings for him. Samantha was shocked by her confession. The Sam inside her never knew that Margaret was falling for him. This explains why she was willing to give her ideas whenever Sam was assigned a project. Samantha got curious about why she feels that she is in love with the stud. The lady responded that she loves how he pretends not to care about the people around him when deep inside, he has a romantic heart. Her words moved Samantha. She doesn't know what to feel. Sam never expected that a woman would be willing to love him no matter who he was. Night came, and Cynthia massaged Andrew's body. She was upset when he mentioned Sam while he was sleeping. Andrew woke up after Cynthia slapped him. He had no idea what made her mad. Cynthia told everything to him. He denied that he ever mentioned Sam. Cynthia never believed him and continued nagging. She felt betrayed that her fiancé fell in love with Sam, which means he is gay. Andrew freaked out. He explained that he was straight. However, it was too late because Cynthia left him again. The next day, Samantha and Andrew meet in a field. Andrew looked lonely, so Samantha asked him about Cynthia. Andrew never responded and changed the topic. Samantha cheered him up by inviting him to football. Andrew refused because he never played football with girls. He went to his friends, who gathered to play. While he was talking to them, Samantha interrupted. All the boys looked at her when she said she wanted to join them in playing. She also looked at Steve and casually talked to him. The man wondered who she was because he had never met her before. Andrew introduced her as Sam's cousin. The boys doubted her ability in football because she was a woman. They refused to play with her, but Samantha insisted. She boasted that she came from a family of football players. Because of that, they allowed her to join. Samantha grabbed the ball, and the boys pushed her to the ground and laid over her. Andrew was upset and called out his friend's behavior. He felt terrible that they never showed respect to her. Samantha calmed down Andrew. She was fine, and there was nothing to worry about. Andrew stared sharply at his friends and left them. Andrew was irritated that Samantha kept following him. He exploded and told the lady that he and Cynthia had broken up because of her. Samantha was shocked. It was her first time to see Andrew extremely hurt because of her. She feels bad about it. Samantha spent the night crying. She missed being a man when everything was normal. She promised never to bother Andrew again to save their friendship. Someone knocked on the door, so she wiped her tears. It was Andrew. He brought beer as a peace offering. He was not mad at her anymore. They sat down on the sofa when suddenly Samantha had muscle cramps. Maybe it was caused by forcing herself to play football. Andrew was concerned, and he wanted to carry her to the nearest hospital. Samantha refused and requested Andrew to massage her shoulders. Shortly after, Andrew feels romantically connected to Sam. He got up and went to the comfort room. Similarly, Samantha felt butterflies in her stomach. But she has no plans to tell Andrew. Someone knocked on the door, and it was Cynthia. She wants to talk about how Samantha stole her fiancé. She said that it's rare to see a man like Andrew. She continued talking and flexed her career. She is proud to be a successful woman and wants to build a family with Andrew. Meanwhile, Samantha was only chilled as she listened to her. Suddenly, she offered an amount to make her disappear from Andrew's life. Samantha's ego was hurt, and she felt belittled by her. Out of Cynthia's knowledge, Andrew stood at her back and heard everything. Cynthia stuttered while she was explaining. However, it was not enough to convince Andrew. He was so mad at her and wanted to end there for good. After Cynthia left, Samantha apologized to Andrew. She felt bad that she was the reason they broke up. Andrew smiled at her. He was even thankful that she made him realize how toxic his relationship with Cynthia was. Since he's single, Andrew invited her to be his date at Steve's wedding. The next day, they visited the boutique of Mr. Blondell to look for a dress. Samantha went out of the fitting room, stunning in her black dress. Andrew's world stopped. He was speechless when he saw her. Mr. Blondell witnessed how their eyes sparkled, so he asked if they were dating. The two raised their voice and denied it. Mr. Blondell laughed at their reaction. Samantha thanked him for the dress. She jokingly said to make every man at the wedding turn their attention to her. She showed the tricks she learned to attract men. It was effective because Andrew fell in love with her even more. Later that night, Andrew drank beer while thinking about Samantha. Suddenly, his phone rang, and it was her. She asked permission to enter his apartment. The lady said she felt strange when she thought of a particular guy. She confessed that she was attracted to him. Andrew freaked out hearing her revelation. Deep inside, he feels the same way, but he cannot imagine falling in love with his best friend. They even chased girls together back then. Samantha told him she couldn't control her feelings anymore. Andrew rattled and excused himself to grab some beer. When he returned, Samantha hugged him. She feels comfortable smelling his scent. She requested Andrew not to move and continue hugging her. Days passed by, and Samantha enjoyed the moment of being a woman. She stops on the streets to see babies in strollers. She dreams of having one if given a chance. The lady also went to her office in a good mood. She opened the door and discovered a letter. It was a mail from the curiosity shop saying to visit there at midnight to make a choice. Samantha doesn't know what to feel. She already loved being a woman, and she was thinking twice about whether to go there or not. Later that day, Andrew and Samantha attended the wedding of Steve and Georgette. It was so romantic that Samantha was sobbing. She held Andrew's hands to make her feel better. At the reception, Samantha and Andrew approached the newlywed. Andrew introduced Samantha to them. They wondered what had happened to Sam. The lady replied that he was fine and was now a transformed version. Andrew pinched her shoulder to stop her. Samantha went to Georgette's room and had a girl talk. Georgette hated Sam for being a bad influence on her husband. When Sam became a woman, he regretted forcing Steve back then to cheat on her. Samantha wants to compromise for what she did. She advised that if she wanted her marriage to work out, she and Steve must establish a friendship and use it as a foundation for their relationship. Her kind words touched Georgette. She barely knew her, but she was grateful for the advice. Samantha went to the balcony to unwind. She was still bothered by the mail she received. Shortly after, Andrew placed a coat on her shoulders. He noticed that she looked bothered. He asked her if she was okay. Samantha never told him about it. Instead, she invited him to return to the reception. They danced to romantic music. Andrew asked her how she was feeling as a woman. Samantha replied that she feels frequencies added to her body. It keeps signaling that many women are planning to steal Andrew from her. The man laughed and dared her to give an example. Samantha pointed to the blonde ladies. She knew that they were dying to check on him. Andrew turned serious and stared at Samantha. He kissed her. Samantha liked it and kissed him back. She requested Andrew to do something for her. She wants him to drive her to the village before midnight. They arrived at their destination. The curiosity shop was there. Samantha kissed Andrew to bid him goodbye. She requested him never to follow her. Samantha went inside the shop, and an older man prepared the tea. He gave her a choice of whether to drink it or not. Andrew went emotional. He fell in love with Samantha, but it was time to let her go. Suddenly, Samantha returned. She never drank the tea. She decides to remain a woman and be with Doc. The couple kissed, and the shop vanished in seconds.